How are you guys doing today?
Amazing. How are you?
Good.
I'm good. Damaris, nice to meet you. I'm gonna say I'm gonna have to get used to calling you Kailey because I'm used to Camille.
Yeah, it's okay.
But
It's either way, I'll answer.
it's nice to see you again. It's been a while since I've gotten to talk to you. You've obviously accomplished a lot since leaving NWA, but this is a big week for you. Camille, I wanted to ask you, or I'm sorry, Kaylee. See, I'm doing it. uh, Kaylee, I wanted to ask you first. You're trained as a wrestler. You learned your own specific way. You have a character, but then you go into this movie and you're not only playing somebody else, but it's a bit of a historical element to it. So talk to me about how you got in the mindset of this character, uh, and any kind of like ways that, pro wrestling made it easier for you, and then maybe some stuff that you had to overcome.
Oh, I'm gonna be completely honest. Being June was so easy.
Mhm.
Because I read about her and her background and everything like that, and she was this like rough and tough Texas chick, and she didn't take any crap from anybody, and everyone was scared of her. And like as Camille, right? That's I was like, well, that's already kind of my wrestling character. And then so to be able to research June and learn more about her. So for like the scenes, of course, where I was speaking, that changed a little bit just knowing where her headspace was from. But the in-ring stuff, I got to basically just be Camille. And then it already
Mhm.
helped that I'm Southern, so I didn't have to put on an accent or, or
I
anything like,
did.
yeah, or anything like that. That's what someone asked Emily the other day. They were like, we know that Kailey helped you with the wrestling, but did she help you with your accent?
Um,
So
Mhm.
yeah, it was just really fun. And getting to meet June's granddaughter on set sort
Mhm.
of also gave me a validation because she was like,
right,
June would be so happy that you are playing her.
right,
And
right,
so
Yeah.
right.
like that made me feel like, okay, I'm doing this all right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, one thing I noticed when I was watching the movie, I'm like, this isn't like too far away from your character. Like you
Right.
even, but you even had like that period where like you weren't allowed to speak,
Mm-hmm.
like when you were aligned with Nick Aldis. So like actually seeing you get to cut a promo, like especially at the fairgrounds when you're like, I don't think I'm like giving away a spoiler, but you're like, I'm not going to take it easy on you. And you just kind of like got to, talk a little trash, which we're not used to. So it was cool kind of seeing you get to evolve your character, so to
Unfortunately,
speak.
the last year, well, really 2 years, NWA was behind a paywall, and that's when I was champion and cutting really good promos and stuff like that.
Mhm.
So a lot of people didn't get to see those. But yeah, I've been cutting some good promos for a minute now, but a lot of
Yeah.
people just haven't gotten to see.
Yeah. No, they, I didn't mean to like imply that, you went from that to, I know there was a lot of stuff in between there. NWA's kind of moved around a little bit as far as where they
No.
broadcast.
It is fair. It is fair that a lot of people haven't got a chance to see that. So
Oh, okay.
yeah, no, I'm with you. I'm excited for people to see that side that never got a chance to see behind
Mhm.
that paywall, and now it's a
Yeah.
movie that's going national. So I'm with you on that. Like a lot of people haven't
Okay.
got that. So
Okay. All right. And then Damaris, you play Battle and Babs Wingo. You're
yeah.
introduced as a trio of sisters. You got a chance to work with Trinity, Naomi. WWE fans know her as Naomi.
Yep.
What was that like? What was your favorite part about working with her?
Oh man. So both Trent and I are Boys and Girls Club alumni Hall of Fame members.
So feminine. She's
So
so humble. She won't tell you that.
but I say that to say that we have this common understanding of our roots and our beginnings. And so I didn't know she was Naomi
Mm.
Mhm.
when I met her. And so that was a beautiful thing to basically learn about, be around, and also inspiration. I think when you do a movie, you don't often get to touch people who are still doing the same thing
Hmm.
today. So I had my research, but then I had somebody who was able to give me their own insight. So it was really exciting.
I know you have a really great monologue towards the end of the movie where, uh, you're sharing the ring with Emily, and that was like a really powerful moment in the movie, but then you're also learning to wrestle and do all this other stuff. What was it like not only having to learn all your lines and, hit your marks and all that stuff, but you're also trying to learn like a very physical sport like pro
Yes.
wrestling is?
Yes. I think that's kind of what you sign up for as an actor, right?
Mhm.
You go into this job knowing that it is going to be challenging, it's going to be tough, it is going to be rewarding if you can get past these particular challenges. But for me, it was a joy. It was an honor to be accepted into this space, I would say. But it was an even bigger honor to do it playing badass Baz Wingo. So yeah, there was no negative grit in it for me. It really brought me a lot of joy.
I know her family's really excited about her being in this too.
Incredibly. Yeah. So that
Yeah.
was a really, 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 really big blessing.
Mhm.
Knowing that Babs and Marva and Ethel's family um gave us their blessing
Yes.
after they saw the movie.
Nice. Well, I really enjoyed it. One of the things that I really liked about it, I know it's based on history and there was a book that it was inspired by, but I like how they focused on just making a great movie and kind of added some modern elements. Like it's not a straight period piece. There's a really great soundtrack that really helps you get
Oh,
into it. And then obviously like
yeah.
there's wrestling and fighting, but when you guys, I'll ask both of you, like when you found out about your respective roles in this movie, like how much did you know about the soundtrack and like the vision they had for it? Instead, it wasn't just like, oh, you're gonna play a historical wrestler. Like, how much about the project did you know when you signed on?
Well, I know from even just being at the Q&As from the previous couple of like early premiere things we did,
Mm.
Ash didn't even know what the soundtrack would be. Like
Mhm,
that's
mhm, mhm,
and I'm new to this, so I don't know how any of this process.
Mm.
This is the outfit I had today because I didn't even know we were doing press before this. But when I was like Ash himself, who is the director, like it's a especially with the music, it's kind of like a what's the word I'm looking for? Like a testing it out and
Okay.
seeing what works.
Okay.
And
Okay.
because he wanted to initially go like really jazzy, really
Yeah.
that time period. And then he was just kind of like and then when he started playing with that like more modernish music
Mhm.
with some of the scenes, I love that about it. I think
Same.
it adds so much
Mm.
Same. Same. Same.
to and then the way that how it's coming out now of like the
Yes.
promotion,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think it's
Yeah. Yeah.
really
Yeah.
nice.
It
Mm.
definitely was unexpected
Hmm.
because I know to prep for Babs, I was listening to a lot of Ella Fitzgerald and Eartha Kitt, and
On your Walkman.
I I use a CD player, yes,
I bought one.
and
I bought
I
one.
did you?
Yeah,
Oh,
inspired. Yes.
so yes, I still use a CD player when I'm on set. But I was listening to a lot of that music, and so to see how it ended up and seeing the mashup of the two, also Ash having a musical
Right.
background, I think that that's also an extra gift that we get
Absolutely.
for this this
Mm.
this film. So shout out to Samari,
Hmm.
and yeah, it's candy.
Yeah. And there's another really great scene, and I already said I'm glad they kind of went modern, but there's this scene where the Life magazine shoot, it's like
Yeah.
definite it just nails the 50s vibe so well. I'm so glad that there's stuff like that in there, but then you have like the rock music and stuff like that. Like I'm excited to see what people who maybe didn't go to one of the screenings, like now, it's opening wide this week. I'm excited to see what they have to say about it because there's just so many great things like
That
that.
soundtrack is I mean, I think it should be seen in theaters because of no matter what, because it's a great film.
Yep.
But with that soundtrack and the way it hits in
I
certain
know.
moments, like
I
you
know.
have to be in the
I know.
theater.
I
You
know.
have to be in
Yeah.
the theater to get that like that feel and the way the bass
In
hits
your
at certain
body.
times.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
the way
yeah,
the
yeah,
bass
yeah.
hits at certain times.
Hearing the
Yes.
hits and the slaps and the
Yes.
slams and
You
yeah.
got to see it in theaters.
Yeah. There's definitely some movies that I've bought specifically for the soundtrack because when you hear like a bass line or a certain part of the song, you're like, oh, okay, like Jim Ross,
Yeah.
appropriately enough, like he's a producer, but business is about to pick up. Like it's
Mhm.
very fitting here. So,
Right.
I'm
uh,
happy. I'm happy you caught it.
Yeah.
yeah, no, it's It's really fun. A lot of great lines too. Like I didn't expect to learn as much as I did. Like I knew obviously some of the wrestlers and the names like Mildred Burke, the Burke, the NWA title, one that you held yourself,
Mhm.
Camille, Kailey. Uh
Let's call her Kate
yeah, let's just
and Kelly.
I'll get it right by the end of it.
It's all good. Hey, I'm both.
Yeah.
Fine.
Did you Kailey obviously knew some about Mildred Burke. I mentioned you held the title that they nicknamed the Burke. What did you walk away from this project like learning about women's wrestling from a historical context?
So I learned kind of a lot like Damaris, really, from like watching tape. What I learned was, you know, that what year, you might know, Bill, what year did they give to the women's revolution? Was it like 2018 or something around?
I think so. Maybe even
Yeah.
like
Well, and I'm like, these girls in the like 40s, 50s,
Right.
they were the revolution. They were
Right.
the one, and like even if
Yeah.
okay. So I'm not sure what you guys heard, but I you heard my full question about
No.
no?
the one of wait about what did I get from the women back then, right?
Yeah,
You
I
didn't
didn't
learn
get your
anything from
answer.
it.
It just kind of froze right
Oh, I
after
gotta fake
that.
the excitement again. Okay.
I wait, I can pivot. I have a couple questions in backup.
Okay.
Okay, so Kailey, I talked to your husband, Tom, a
Mhm.
few times. And one of the things I spoke to him about was he said you were kind of the inspiration for your Macho Man and Elizabeth cosplay that you did at Sawen.
Yeah.
And I was kind of joking with him, like, you've obviously moved on to AEW since then, but he was going to go out on his own, and I was like, what would you push him to maybe cosplay on his own as? And he was like, no, 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 that's not me. We're like scary Halloween like dollar store masks. So what would you want to see him maybe dress up as, since you can't make him do the couple's costume?
Maybe you know what? I just thought maybe Razor Ramon because there's something about Razor and like his body type, and this is gonna sound kind of creepy, maybe, but the way his body hair is reminds me.
I can see
But
it.
Tom,
Oh,
Tom,
someone's calling
yes,
me.
but Tom right now because he's a baby face, he actually shaved all his hair off, which I hate, and it's okay to say because he knows I hate it. I like me a man with some hair. But yeah,
That see, this was a much better question.
I have no comment. No.
This was a much better question.
no, and the other question I was putting over the wrestling back in the 50s and putting respect on the gals' names. So let me put that in there.
Just like that. Say respect.
Yeah,
Respect.
Like that.
put
Uh-huh.
some respect. And I mentioned you've moved on to AEW. It's been a little while since we've seen you on TV.
So
Any update on when we might see you back on TV?
My client has chosen not to comment on the matter at hand,
Okay.
but we are open for more questions.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. One thing that my question to both will be, what do you want people to take away from this movie? Obviously, it's to, sort of inform and educate about the struggles that women's wrestling had to overcome, but it's also very entertaining. I've highlighted a few points. So what is the big takeaway you want people to have when they see Queen of the Ring? I'll go to Damaris and then Kailey.
Thank you. For me, the biggest one at the moment is the importance of locking in, turning off the noise. I think in today's day and age, there's so much stimulation. We can see what so many people are doing, but we can't see what they did to get there. So doubt is running rampant because you get on your phone and you see what she's doing, what he's doing, and the success they have, and what kind of bag she has, and how much money they have, or how much money they don't have. And the thing when you watch this movie is to remember that they didn't have any of that and they still did it. None of it. It wasn't easy. It wasn't always fun. But this movie shows you that it's possible. So if you have a dream about anything, I want you to watch this movie and know that if you lock in and you never lose sight of that thing, anything is possible.
I would say that I think this can be male, female, but especially with this being like it's coming out International Women's Day or weekend.
Weekend.
That especially, and I'm sure you understand, Bill, in wrestling and the dirt sheets, they want the clickbait title, and if there's drama going back on in the locker room and blah blah blah, and it's like this movie shows that women, especially when they're going through hard times in life, like we all have not I want to say we all have the exact same struggles, but on like a certain basis, especially in this movie, like wrestling in itself, life in itself is hard enough. And so these women, what they did is instead of kind of looking at each other as competition and we got to get a one up on each other,
Right.
they band together, and you'll see that in so many scenes where they have each other's back and they're there for one another, and that's how they got through all of the crap that wrestling has. And it's like that's not just in wrestling, that's in life in general.
Yeah.
If you kind of get together, that everything is I'm not gonna say it's gonna be easy, but at least you have people.
You're not alone.
Yes, you're not alone.
Yeah.
March 7th, you can check out Queen of the Ring. I feel like I've gushed about it throughout this call, but I'll keep singing its praises because I just really enjoyed the movie. I think you both did a really good job in the movie.
Thank you very much.
Any final words? Any final thoughts as far as getting fans in the seats this weekend?
Well, for two thoughts then. My first thought would be a thank you to all these women. They're not here for us to talk to them, and we've done the best that we can with what we've got, but this movie wouldn't exist without them. So thank you for them, to them. And then for the fans, come have fun. Get in the theater and get ready to have some fun.
You do not have to be a wrestling fan to enjoy this movie.
Right. Yeah.
And turn the phone off when you're in the theater.
Absolutely.
Right.
I already said, I was like, I think they should start having a basket when you walk in and you have to put your phone in there or something, a locker.
Hey, I'm glad we got a chance to talk and use technology this way.
Yes.
But I'm totally on board with like shutting it all down and putting my phone away. Like if I have a chance to disconnect and what better way to do that than sit and watch a movie in the movie theater?
Some popcorn, you got it.